Good morning and welcome back to Almus Market Mornings. We had a couple of data points from the US as the jobless claims remained steady, while the Q3 GDP expanded at a strong 4.4%, the fastest pace we've seen in 2 years. In Japan, Prime Minister Takaichi is set to dissolve the lower chamber of the parliament and call a snap election with the shortest campaign period on record. On the geopolitical front, developments around Greenland and NATO are increasingly centered on countering Chinese influence, with talks of the US missiles and strategic control in the Arctic adding to the global uncertainty. This backdrop continues to favor the safe haven assets, reinforcing the bullish momentum in precious metals, with gold seen on the path towards 5,000 and silver towards 100. Good morning, JK. Any developments you see on this going into this long weekend?
Good morning, Ishan. Uh, yes, I think geopolitics will take the center stage, continue, the focus of investors. While, the speech by Trump when there was meeting was a relief for the markets and also, global watchers. It's still not, something that is to be rested upon because I have not seen any response from the European leaders for Trump's statement that there is a broad agreement that is happening on Greenland. And let us not forget that he says that US will keep pursuing acquisition of Greenland in any case, though he might not use force for that. And various statements also indicate that the NATO's future is also, something that is will be reviewed, going forward, because the relation between US and Europe is not in a good place. So that is one development that will continue to take the attention. Also, on the geopolitical front, tension seems to be building up in the Iranian side as well. And there seems to be some, according to statements by Trump himself, there are some forces that are moving towards Iran, and the recent statement by Israel also indication that something could be in the offing in the Iranian region also. So that's the reason why you are seeing the safe haven buying of the precious metals renewing yesterday. Gold jumping above 4,900, not away from 5,000 now. Similarly, silver also, which had a good correction yesterday, again above 97 now. This trend is likely to continue. And what is also a surprise for some people is the way euro has been standing firm. Now, while there is tension between Europe and US, which looks like continuing for some time, the euro single currency has gained more as a safe haven now. And also, I feel because of the stance that the US has taken on various issues globally, the diversification from the dollar by other countries is also gradually going on. That's the reason why you see euro being the most liquid asset after US is also getting some traction, and we are seeing euro breaking above 1.1750 once again in yesterday's trading. And now its range has been between 1.15 and 1.18 for quite some time, but that range is possibly will be higher end of the range will probably be tested. And if 118 is broken and stays above that, we could definitely see investors targeting 1.19 and 1.20 also. On the Japanese side, we have the BOJ meeting, which is happening at a very important time. Politically, as you mentioned, there is a snap poll that is called for February 8th. Japanese yields have been hitting the roof. Japanese yen is trading much closer to 160, and 160 and 162 is a multi-year high in USD Japanese yen, and there is a focus on what they will do with the monetary policy. The inflation number for the month of December, of course, came slightly lower, although the core inflation number stays firm and well above the BOJ's target. BOJ, if they are really serious about yen not weakening more, BOJ should not be giving a dovish statement, and probably they will, indicate that their preparedness for hiking rate once again. The yen's trend is very, very important because that's where a lot of stake for the global investors lie, having served as a carry currency for several years, and the amount involved is much, much larger now, because of the way markets have bought into various high yielding assets by selling yen, and at the same time, further weakness in the yen could be hurting the Japanese economy through higher inflation and also consumption getting affected. So it's a very tough situation for Bank of Japan. What they say will be very closely followed as well. US economy, as you said, at least going by the numbers that we have seen, is quite encouraging. That's the reason why US still attracts money into their assets, be it domestic investors or even some foreign investors as well. The GDP growth at 4.4% is very strong. Consumer spending has been holding up very strongly at 3.5% now versus 2.5%. And then the latest trade data also showed that exports did much better, and imports were down. So when there is a net improvement in the trade numbers, also that also adds to the GDP number. Now, however, the strong US economic data is not really encouraging fresh buying into the US dollar, because market is structurally long in the US dollar. There is certain amount of aversion to hold US dollar, much more US dollars by the investors as well, and US assets are fully priced. There is a concern about US bonds as well. So US economy is strong as per the data that we are getting, but the dollar is not really getting any traction. So that is the situation. As far as the stock markets are concerned, they have erased all the losses that were suffered in the early part of this week, on account of the Greenland issue after Trump's statement. But I think the situation is still very fluid until we see Europe's statements in this regard, whether they are coming into some understanding or not. As of now, Europe has stood with its strong stance against any move to acquire Greenland, and the fact that they remain very united is also something that is helping the sentiment positively towards Europe. As far as the rupee is concerned, we have stalled near the all-time highs in the USD INR, but that is not any comfort, because the demand still remains very high, and RBI intervention has also been quite limited in the past few days. Therefore, I think we cannot rule out a move towards 92. But as I have shared earlier also, having already moved about 2% in the last couple of weeks, the rupee maybe, and also ahead of key events like India you deal next week, in the budget coming up on the February 1st, as well as Trump's own statement about India-US deal. Though market ignores those statements, is still none of that is actually helping the rupee, which is really hit by very negative sentiment. And given a chance, market will try to push towards 92 and above. However, some hesitancy could be there in the very short term, the big events ahead. Therefore, I feel rupee will still trade between 91.40 and 91.70 for today at least. Of course, next week could see a much more volatility in this regard. Thank you.
Thank you, Jayaram. So, and just to summarize, as we go into the long weekend, the speech by Trump was a relief for the market, but nothing to be rested upon, as we haven't received any response from Europe on the Trump stance on still wanting to acquiring Greenland. And the tensions still continue to build up on the Iranian side, as some forces are moving towards Iran, thus seeing the precious metals move towards their new big figures. When it comes to Japan, the Bank of Japan meeting is happening at a very important time as the snap poll is being called on the 8th of February, while the Japanese yields are going up and USD JPY is trading at a multi-year high. So it's a crucial move for the Bank of Japan when it comes to their monetary policy, and it'll be interesting to see whether they hike their rates. And numbers seen from the US economy seem to be attractive, keeping the investors still invested in the US markets. And the trade data shows that the exports are doing much better in the US, which in turn added to this rise in GDP this quarter. And coming to the rupee, we have stalled at the all-time high levels, and the RBI intervention has been limited, thus not ruling out the move towards 92. But remaining cautious is, of course, a sentiment we need to keep as we have the upcoming budget next week. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch up on Tuesday now for a fresh round of updates. Thank you.